So welcome back to another Gigguk video reaction, and this one is a big one. It's the best of anime 2024. So it's the video that I'm always looking forward to because I am a big Gigguk fan. So I'm excited for this. So first of all, I'm gonna be pausing a lot during this video because I want to talk about each of the anime that he's gonna be talking about that I've seen and my opinions on it. But in saying that, I'm also working on a video that's gonna be basically my version of like just anime of the year, or it's gonna be more so kind of like how the Crunchyroll awards are, a few categories and me saying what my favorites of those categories are. I'm working on that video. It should be out in the next week, hopefully. It takes a lot of time. Hopefully it should be out in the next week or so. So I'm not gonna be saying what my anime of the year is and stuff like that, because if you're interested in that, there's gonna be a video completely regarding just that. So make sure to be on the lookout if you're interested about my rankings and stuff like that. But I guess let's see what Gigguk has to say about it. So I feel like I've seen most of these anime, but probably not all of them. So let's see. So I guess without further ado, let's go into... Oh yeah, make sure to go and check out the original video as well down in the description. And let's go into Gigguk's Best of Anime 2024.
2024 has come and seemingly gone as soon as it began. It was certainly a busy year for global events, and I wouldn't blame you for just wanting to shut off the world and put on some anime. And thankfully, this year,
Bokuyaba is so good.
Play.
Yes, 2024 was a fantastic for anime. Oh, he's gonna have Mushoku Tensei
continuing
on there.
to soar in popularity for the better and for the worse. I still am getting used to how much of a global phenomenon it's become. School friends who never had any interest in animation will hit me up telling me they saw Dandadan.
True.
People who had never heard of a Crunchyroll will casually talk about discovering this random Japanese show on Netflix. My parents watched anime this year. The
Anime
idea
trash,
of being
so
a
am I.
pure anime fan feels like it's slowly getting phased out as
that's
anime just becomes another part of pop culture. But for those of us who still wear that mantle, what else was happening this year? For about 2 weeks, our community became obsessed with
Jesus
Tears.
Christ, that was such a meme.
You'd last about 10 seconds in before realizing,
Ladies and gentlemen, I think my brain just committed suicide.
After years,
yeah, I mean that was a fun anime. I watched it on the channel, and it's not gonna be on this list, I'm sure. So I'm just gonna say it was a lot of fun. Some episodes were weaker than others, and I feel like the middle point was kind of weak. I think the beginning was really strong, and I think some of the last episodes were really strong as well. All in all, it was just a really fun anime.
of waiting, it looked like we were finally
I
getting
enjoyed
the first
Uzumaki
great Junji Ito adaptation.
all the way through.
Uzumaki came out and smashed the curse by giving us an anime that did justice to its
Yeah,
horrifying
here it is.
art. It
Here
was
it is.
disturbing. It was unnerving. This is it, the run that's going to change everything. We're gonna do it, and there comes episode 2.
Here it
Free
is.
Ren became a cultural
I
phenomenon.
mean, yeah, Uzumaki. Obviously, it definitely got a lot worse after episode 1, but I think that the ideas in it, especially for someone who hasn't read the manga, I think the ideas and the story behind it were still really good. I think the OST was really good, and I think the art style itself was really, really good, even if the animation wasn't there. So I still enjoyed all of Uzumaki, and I think it was still worth a watch, you know. Even if, yes, as I said, it did get worse after episode 1.
Popularizing the phrase, that's what him or the hero would have done. Inspiring people so much
good.
that someone quoted him after stopping a real
I saw
knife
that.
attack.
I
in a
saw
rare
that.
case of a Free Run fan doing something outside of posting Yubel's armpits. Demon Slayer laid the groundwork for its final arc by
I
having
haven't
his
seen
big bad
this.
Muzan take 5 business days to walk to his destination. Fans
haven't
seem to be
seen
split on whether this scene was pure badassery or just over the top silly. I'm just saying, if they really wanted their villain to have unmatched aura, they should have just fully committed to the Bollywood way of introducing their characters.
Yeah, the camera shots, the camera pans, that's Bollywood.
It felt like a truck full of massive manga came to the end of their serialization, which included 2 mega hits in My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yep.
I didn't read them, but I
Yep.
can say from experience that historically speaking, when a long-running massive Shonen Jump manga ends, it's almost always met with unanimous praise
course.
and support.
Yes, of
and
course,
this
always.
was no different.
Yup, 100%.
Isekai
The Twitter
became
was
an
so
official
fun.
word in the Oxford English Dictionary, giving legitimacy to all the isekai trash men
saw that
out
as
there.
well.
Following the news, the search was officially started to find exactly who Truck-kun's British cousin would be. Here he is now. And last,
Wanker!
but certainly not least, we lost a legend this year in Akira Toriyama. I tried writing a longer segment for this, but nothing I wrote felt like it did justice to this man's legacy, so I'm gonna keep it short. He may not have been the mangaka that influenced me the most, but he is the mangaka that influenced the most people around the world. He inspired a generation of people, and his work will continue to inspire for many generations to come. And for that, what more can you say but thank you?
Yep, 100%. So yeah, I made a post back when it happened, when the news broke, and as I said, I've never been like a huge Dragon Ball fan. I watched it a bit when I got into anime, not when I was a child. So I know a little bit about it. I never played like games like Chrono Trigger and stuff like that, but yeah, huge respect.
This was a weird year to try and distill down when picking my best anime. To avoid any confusions, these videos aren't just meant to be a definitive shortlist of my favorites, but it's my favorites that I want to passionately share and talk about with you guys, and normally that's the vast majority. But it turns out that a lot of my favorite shows this year I don't have more than like 2 sentences to say, mainly because many of them have very recently been on previous year's list and they just continued doing what they were doing so well.
Okay, that's
so for the first
nice,
time,
a nice
just
safety net.
some quick honorable mentions for the shows that helped define my year, even if I don't have much new to say. But before we get to that, I want to have a quick word about today's sponsor, Honkai Star Rail, a free-to-play sci-fi RPG from Hoyoverse
Hell
with
yeah!
some of the most iconic characters they've ever made, such
right
as
now.
Restless Vagrant. You idiots, we'll just steal off the miners. And right now is an
Hell
exciting
yeah.
time for the game because a massive update is
3.0,
about
baby.
to drop, because somehow it's already been a year since Penacony and a whole new world is coming. Amphorius is finally dropping as the new stop for the Trailblazers with new quests,
I'm a few hours in,
areas,
like 2
mechanics.
hours
and
in,
I am
and it's really fun.
because as someone who loved the Penacony arc, this looks like it's going to be living up to that insane quality. We've even been told that this time it's going to have a heartwarming story.
Yup. Thank you,
A
Shaoji.
heartwarming story.
Thank you, Shaoji.
I see no reason to doubt you, Hoyoverse.
Yep.
Of course, there's going to be new 5-star characters dropping too, starting with the Herta.
I got the Herta.
Herta? The sassy lost tsundere of Star Rail? How the hell was she a 5-star now?
Hell yeah.
Damn! Yes,
Hell
the Ice
yeah.
Queen is
She's
here
so
to take
broken.
her
It's
crown,
actually
complete with
ridiculous.
her 5-star upgrade. But that's
Don't worry,
not
she's gonna
all, because
get-
she's going to be
she's gonna
joined
get power
by
cap
Aglia,
next
a new
patch.
5-star lightning Greek beauty. But I know why you're really here. You don't care about me. You just want free stuff, don't you? Don't you? Well, right now there is a free 5-star selection event that will last until version 3.2. But wait, there's more. By just logging in for 7 days, you can also get a free 10 pull. What, not enough? All right, a little greedy, aren't we? Well, here you go. Use the code on screen right now for 50 free Stellar
I'm pretty sure I
Jades
already
there.
used this.
Are you happy? Works every time. So, what are you waiting for? Click that link in the description to download Honkai Star Rail today.
So
Thank you very much to Hoyoverse
So
for sponsoring me today.
Get that,
And
Brad.
with that said, here are some of the honorable mentions. I actually really enjoyed this season of Oshinoko,
Oh,
maybe even more
okay.
than the first season. This year, we shifted
Agreed.
gears to spotlight the Japanese theater, resulting in some of the best episodes we've seen in the entire series, with some insane direction at times that truly made you feel like you were living an authentic theater experience.
It's like a cam rip.
I'm kind of starting to think that this show is at its best when Aqua isn't the main focus and when it can highlight other people's emotional journey through the world of entertainment. There was some fantastic character writing here, and now that the manga has come to an end, I'm sure we all have a lot to look forward to in future seasons.
I think my brain just committed.
Mushoku Tensei, diabolically
Yep. Exactly. That was my my reaction. I don't know actually what happens at the ending. I just know people were having a meltdown over it. So season 2, I do think it's better all in all than season 1. I do think that season 1 has the best single episode, which is episode 6. I think episode 1 is out of the question because it's unfair. I think episode 6 would be my favorite episode in all of Oshinoko, but I do think that season 2 is, I prefer it all in all. I do think that season 2 has a slower start though. I think the first 2 or 3 episodes were pretty slow in Oshinoko season 2, and then when it gets going with like all of the Aqua stuff and things like that, and when the actual play gets going, that's when it really goes into like 6th gear and it's just non-stop badass, insane. I think he said that he thinks that it's better when Aqua isn't the main focus. I think that Aqua was more of a focus in this season than a lot of the previous season, and I think that Aqua has gotten some incredible character depth to him with this season, right? With showing like things that were shown. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I feel like Aqua was fantastic in this season, even better than the previous one, and I really enjoyed the how much more fleshed out he's gotten in this season, right? that being said, also Akane and Kana got a lot of character writing there as well. One of the best episodes, and that ending was just absolutely rude, a rude cliffhanger for us. But yeah, fantastic anime, fantastic, one of my favorites.
He dropped one of its best episodes on Father's Day, then proceeded it in the most Mushoku Tensei style possible, leaving me with some mixed feelings. Not so much with the development.
I've heard so many spoilers of this, I don't want to watch it
for
even.
a series that historically has had no problem spending as much time as it needs exploring the complexities of human emotions, this one felt a bit out of sync. I still enjoyed it, but for the first time it left a bitter aftertaste in my mouth, and I'm not talking about whatever Roxy's been drinking. It was a delight to see the wacky chemistry between the Konosuba cast has not gotten boring at all. Demon Slayer was a 10 out of 10.
Konosuba season 3 was great. Oh, fantastic season. Non-stop, just didn't give you time to breathe. It was always just a banger episode. It was great. Yeah, just more Konosuba, right? It wasn't different in any way, shape, or form from the other seasons. The art style was a bit different, but at the end of the day, it was still Konosuba. It was still fantastic. We got actually some great story and character writing at the end of towards the end of the season, which I thought was really, really interesting. Apart from that, I watched it on the channel and it was a great season. Mushoku Tensei, haven't seen. I've seen the first 2-3 episodes, and then I heard like every single spoiler imaginable from Mushoku Tensei, and I'm like, you know what? I just can't bring myself to watch this because I get so inexplicably angry when I hear about it. So that's why I haven't seen it, and I don't plan to watch it on the channel. But yeah. I guess Demon Slayer. I've seen 2.5 seasons. I've kind of stopped watching during midway through season 3, and then I was like, you know what, if people talk about it more, I'm gonna pick it back up. And then people didn't really talk about it more after it, so I never picked it up.
Episode. Before that, it was the weakest season so far, shown by the fact that IGN gave it a 3 out of 10 and didn't set the internet on fire.
Even I remember this.
Low, because surely this moment alone should bring it up a bit. Then there were the two juggernauts of last year, Apothecary Diaries and Frieren, continuing their amazing run from 2023 to 2024. I introduced my mum to Apothecary Diaries this year, thinking it'll occupy her for a good week, and I thought,
and we're back with season 2.
Anime until
I'm watching it on the channel. Today is a new episode.
She looks at me in the eyes and goes, "It's done." That was too short. It was at this point I realized no matter how powerful I think I
love this OST.
I could never hope to match the power level of Asian mums watching their soap operas. And while I preferred the first half of Frieren that aired last year, it still continued to be a stellar show, tournament arc and all. I know everyone's thirsting over this green-haired girl, but I gotta say, the old man won my
goat.
A mage of principle and respect, reminding us that you may be out of mana,
but you're not out of hand. Yeah, you're not out of hands. That's it.
Pound people up. No diddy. Make no mistake, if this was a simple one-sentence list, both of these shows would have easily ended up in my top 5. And on the other end of the spectrum, there were other returning shows like My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh that. But yeah, Frieren, Oshinoko, I guess kind of spoiler if you're planning on watching my list when that eventually comes out. They're gonna be up there on some categories, but both fantastic shows, both absolutely incredible, but I'm gonna talk about them more on my list.
Was once the golden child of shonen, carrying on the torch to a new generation of anime fans to a post-Big 3 era.
I've seen the first 2 seasons.
People couldn't stop talking about it. Then one day, it felt like everyone woke up and just went, yo, this shit boring. My Hero became the punching bag of jokes, while other titles rose up and grabbed the spotlight. And as time went on, it felt like those jokes turned into complaints, and then eventually those complaints turned into indifference. And while it felt like many people had given up on it, I quietly continued watching in hopes that one day it would remind me of why I loved the series in the first place. And this year, I remember what it felt like to go plus fucking ultra.
I heard that season 6 and 7 are fantastic. Wow.
Feels like in the modern age of action shonen, a lot of us have forgotten the beating heart of what My Hero Academia truly excelled at. Its amazing attention to detail in its character writing and development. This is what a shine
that scene that was all over Twitter.
On that playing field, only a few of its competitors can compete. However, if you come into this as another battle shonen anime, you can definitely feel it being left behind when compared to the plethora of modern action spectacles its contemporaries have been showing us. Take this fight. We have Fireman versus Ice Boy and friends. It's a 1 versus many brawl. Fireman blasts them with a super hot fire, immediately rendering the team useless, and punches Ice Boy, but Ice Boy has a technique that neutralizes his fire, because, you know, he's actually half fire, half ice, and then punches Fireman, but then Fireman brings out fire that's even hotter than his previous fire, so Ice Boy brings out his ultimate technique, and even hotter super duper ice punch. It was at this point I realized I'm not watching an active brawl. I'm watching a turn-based battle on autoplay. I know this sounds like complaints, but this is all to say that if you are able to get past all that, when you can focus on its strengths, when you see all these character storylines collide, it is able to go places few other shonen action shows are able to, and this season was a non-stop barrage of that. Endeavor facing the mistakes of his parenting, Todoroki coming to terms with his family trauma, Bakugo turned into a sympathetic boy, Ochiko proves she's more than just a good girl, Himiko proving she's more than just a crazy girl, Deku stop listening to My Chemical Romance, All Might, Hawks, Dabi, Ida. They made me hype seeing Gentle again. Gentle? Fucking what? This almost didn't feel like an action
I know
show.
what you're talking about.
It felt like an epic soap opera where coincidentally people solve their conflicts by punching each other. It may not be doing what shonen action does best, but
really
it is doing what My Hero Academia does best. Now, approaching the finish line to its legacy, it felt like My Hero has stood up for one last hurrah as it looked me dead in the eye and said, "Don't worry, kid."
Oh, that's hype. That's hype. Okay. Oh, that's hype. Is that Gogo Loser Ranger? No.
Sometimes you come across a show that gives absolutely zero fucks.
What is this?
And condenses its entire being into achieving one objective: having fun. That is Brave Bang Bravern. This is what happens when you take the over-the-top ridiculous hype of Gurren Lagann, add a bit of tokusatsu, and crash land it into the manly bravado world of Top Gun.
Oh, this is this one. I saw this clip.
Then make it about as straight as it too. It is a non-stop, glorious celebration
Is it good?
of the best parts you can find in the mecha genre, then throws logic out the window and amps everything up to 11. Cheesy speeches, fusion scenes, old school theme songs that will grow your beard 5 inches. It takes all of them, then proudly throws them in your face. Oh, what was that?
Wait, that's
yes,
sick.
because you know what? Subtext is for cowards. It doesn't care if you get it or not because it's here to do its own thing. If you ask, why does a mecha have a function where it plays its theme song and projects its own background screen? Why is the US military trying to waterboard a giant robot? Why does the protagonist have karaoke subtitles so he can nail the speech during heroic moments? It'll look at you dead in the eye and say, fuck you because this is Bravern. BRAVERN. What does that spell? It's a treat when you watch a show where you can tell
I want to watch
every single person working on it was having a blast, and you get infected with that same joy. This is the shitpost of mecha, the YouTube poop of super robots. Forget a no bullshit show. This is an all bullshit show, and it's damn proud of it.
So
it's
much
a show
fun.
that fully commits to hitting every single emotional beat it needs to, then takes one step back and laughs at itself.
Come on, wake up!
That's insane.
If you're still unsure about the appeal of mecha, if you're unsure of what makes super robots great, give this one a watch. This isn't just a love letter to the mecha genre, this will make you fall in love with mecha. You know, figuratively speaking.
That looks like so cool. That's so cool.
No.
So much fun, man.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Not worth it. Whoa!
Watching anime can be my escape from reality.
Destruction?
A place where you can enter a whole new...
Wait, do I want to watch this? I kind of... Do I want to watch this segment? I kind of want to watch the destruction. I've heard so many good things about it. And by so many, I mean like 2. But like, whoever has anything to say about this they're always like praising it. So I kind of want to watch this. You know what? I'm gonna watch this preview.
With stories that have absolutely no relation to the life you're living right now. So, what could be further from reality than a sci-fi show about alien invaders and the end of the world itself? It's the dreariest apocalypse of all time, where the world is going through an unprecedented global event. Misinformation, conspiracy theories, and finger-pointing have spread like wildfire on social media. Friendships are lost on where people stand with the issue of these aliens. Protests begin. Public trust is at an all-time low. The only thing that everyone can agree on is that nobody can agree on what to do next. Politicians prioritize the economy over anything else. More and more it feels like there isn't a single competent person left in a position of power, and in between all that, the series asks, what does it feel like to be a teenager? Trying your best to grasp a sense of normalcy after living through major historical event after major historical event. This was the realest anime of 2024. Dead demons. Destructions takes a different approach to the First Contact story. This isn't about an invasion. This isn't about communication. This is about people feeling absolutely lost, trying to cope with a world that seems to be crumbling around them. It's a cynical, biting look at life that sometimes felt a little bit too uncomfortably reminiscent to reality, showing us that even during an apocalypse, life has to and will go on. But there is hope, because even during a chaotic time with aliens, spaceships, and sci-fi laser weapons, only then can the true heroes of society emerge.
お前もそろそろしっかりしてほしいよ。父さん、SNS にはびこる私意識高いですアピールを繰り返す勘違いの話だし、心霊写真をポストし続けなきゃならないのだからな。
Ah, he's finally here. Biblically accurate Twitter blue checkmark user.
Here he is. That sounds really cool. I wanna watch it. ReZero, baby. Only 8 episodes though.
When the last season of ReZero came out, I looked like this. When the first season of ReZero came out, I looked like this. When ReZero is being written, I looked like this. It's insane to think that this show first blasting onto the scene, taking over the anime community, was over 8 years ago. ReZero fans have been surviving, eating at scraps, but this year we got the start of an all-you-can-eat buffet with its return. They brought everyone back for this one. Amelia,
really
Krush, Felt, Anastasia, Priscilla, Subaru's newly acquired sassy Pokemon, Reinhardt, Julius, them, Let Me Solo Her.
Hell
even
yeah,
Rem
Let Me
fans
Solo
were
Her.
eating this season.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
If you were one of the people that thought Season 2 was a little slow in plot progression, Season 3 went,
it's back.
don't worry,
Back.
I hear you, and started off by dropping a nuke on itself. This was a
absolutely
no-bullshit, non-stop barrage of chaos. When you thought the situation couldn't get any worse, it does. Just when Subaru learned to value his own life and make an oath not to rely on the return by death mechanic, this pushed that commitment to the absolute limit. One thing goes wrong, then two. Before he can even put out one fire, 10 more pop up. There reaches several parts where you think this is the point of no return, only for the series to hold and keep holding. Then it holds for another whole episode until you want to scream, "Please, Subaru! There is no dishonor in typing FF15!" This show has never been shy of introducing wacky, eccentric villains, and yet even this season had me going, good lord, ReZero, as I jizz and breathe. Forget introducing one villain at a time, let's introduce them all.
Oh my god, so peak Aoi Yuki.
To others so despicable,
Serious as well.
I genuinely hope every time he pees, it goes off in 2 streams and they both miss the toilet. They were introducing so many surprise villains, I was expecting one of the episodes to end like,
I was completely wrong, wasn't I? I had the dates wrong all this time. Did he come on out?
Jesus Christ. Gone.
This was
Gigguk.
the action-packed season many of us asked
Holy
for.
fuck.
And the real difference is just seeing how much Subaru is stepping up to the plate. It's been an absolute pleasure to see how much this is not the same Subaru we all recognized from the beginning. And now the dominoes are set up for him to knock them down in the most emphatic way possible.
That I think is so good.
Conclusion in 2025. And you bet your ass I'm gonna be there.
Okay, so ReZero, I guess this is a spoiler for my list. Not a spoiler for ReZero though. I didn't put it on my list because I feel like it's way too early for it. I feel like ReZero has just started this season and it feels like there's only 8 episodes out, even though the first one was like, what, an hour and a half long. There's only 8 episodes and I feel like it's definitely just setting up this season. I want to see more before I make judgment on it. I really enjoyed the first 8 episodes, but I do feel like we haven't seen enough for me to gauge it as like a full-on arc, right? Even though I do think that this constitutes as an arc and then the next one is going to be a separate arc. Either way, it was fantastic. It was full speed ahead. The first episode definitely took a bit of time to just set up everything, which was great. And then episode 2 to like 7 or whatever, or up to 6 was just, you know, gas, non-stop. And then there was the speech episode, and that one would slow down a lot, right? Again. So it kind of felt like build up, insane, just absolute insanity ensues, and then slow down, and now into a new arc, right? So that's how it feels like right now. It's fantastic. I love the villains. They're fantastic. Aoi Yuki is absolutely insane with the voicing of Lugunika. So yeah, she's fantastic. And Sirius is a fantastic villain. So I guess we'll see where the next arc is gonna go. I think in February it comes back, so we'll see. What's next? Makeine. Wow! Whoa!
In the world of anime, there's no place more brutal, more
I watched this on the
cutthroat,
channel.
more bloody than the romance genre. Girls duke it out in the battlefield of the protagonist's heart. Tears are shed, hearts are broken, blood,
Okay.
protein is spilled. But as we all know, there can
Is that
only be
domestic
one,
girlfriend?
2, 100. 0 winners, while the losers are there just
Was that a
left to
sheer there?
rot. But this year, too many losing heroines saw all that and went, you know, just because a girl lost doesn't mean she wasn't best girl in the show.
True. I mean, Makahina was great.
And anime girls with short blue hair deserve to be the main heroine for once. And cute tomboys and awkwardly shy chicks deserve their time in the spotlight too.
Oh!
And I want a little sister who's way too overprotective and calls me Oni-chan because I love my little sisters. Too many losing
Oh
heroines
my
was the
god,
answer to all
God,
of them.
please.
They looked at romance anime and said, I'm tired of this single elimination bullshit. Where the hell is my losers bracket? And losers is all we see. 1, 2, 3 girls, all rejected by the man they love, coming together to form enough copium to rival the average Man United fan. We've seen
yes,
romance anime
Goldbridge.
where a girl loses, accepts her defeat, and that's the end of it. But this asked, what kind of reaction do we get after that point?
Mario?
This was the greatest hits montage of the saddest and funniest coping mechanisms people can find themselves when they're just in their lowest points. It's messy, it's emotional, it's sometimes just hilariously pathetic, and in between all of them is the victim of their non-consensual trauma dump. When I first saw this setup, I thought I had the show all figured out. Oh, here we go again, a laid-back, reserved guy paired with some loud, energetic, Genki anime girl. Wow, that's a trope I've never seen before, but as you watch, it doesn't play out how you think. The trigger never gets pulled, the patented anime blush scene never happens, and all we're left with is a guy forming a real friendship by just letting these girls
It's definitely
feel
not
like they don't have to
formulaic.
deal with all of this alone. Too Many Losing Heroines was a different kind of rom-com in a highly competitive year full of them. There's a genuine sense of community with the cast as you're able to laugh with them at their highest points and really feel for them at their lowest. It's a show that knows when to laugh at itself and when to take itself 100% seriously, selling you on all these emotions: anger, emptiness, denial, that knee-jerk conclusion that you just lack any self-worth, all in its 12-episode run. Losing Heroines was a different kind of rom-com in a highly competitive year full of them, and I say this as someone who's just not as interested in high school romance shows anymore. As a 34-year-old married man, there is just far less for me to relate to nowadays. Even if a show is decent, any school romance is going to have a hard time getting on my list. It can't just be good. It can't just be great.
Well, there's one.
Be bloody.
Yup. I know what's coming. Guys. Because there's one standout romance this year. One that stands, for me personally, head and shoulders above the rest. And he's gonna talk about it here. I'm sure of it. But let me talk about Makahina right now. And let me go back 5 seconds because he's about to build up to something. Okay, so Makahina, I really enjoyed it. I think the characters are absolutely fantastic. Komori best girl. But the one thing that I would say is kind of, I guess, to the detriment is I have no idea what it's gonna be about. Like, is it just about the characters and that is not gonna be like an overarching story? Is it kind of like slice of life, girl of the week kind of show where every girl is gonna have her arc and that's about it? What's the main character doing? He's just, to me, it feels like the main character is just there tying the story, kind of like being the red line of the story, right? Everyone's kind of like connected to him, but he doesn't necessarily amount to like much, right? There's no story surrounding him, no romance building around him. I guess you can say that there's kind of like a connection there with, like, I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but I guess you could say that there is some kind of connection starting up there. But yeah, as I said, all of the girls' arcs are bloody fantastic, but they seem very, very self-contained, right? And it feels like there's no huge overarching story building, building there. That's one thing that to me is kind of missing from Makahina. As a one-off, like 12-episode show, it was bloody fantastic, or 13 episode, or whatever it was. But I have no idea where the story could go. Is it just gonna be like introducing a new girl? She goes through an arc. That's it. Let's go. New girl. She goes through an arc. That's it. That's the formula of the show was unique, and the girls were very unique, and the interactions were really, really well written, and I totally enjoyed the show. But I do wonder, I do think that, it's kind of, the story of it is a bit, I'm not sure where it's going, That's I guess the downside for me for Makahina. Apart from that, the animation was also absolutely fantastic.
My list.
But here we go.
It can't just be good. It can't
Into the
just
peak.
be great.
Peak.
It's gotta be
Peak.
bloody fantastic.
Yes, it's gotta be peak. Yes, you're so right. You're so based for this.
Modern romance anime has an epidemic. I don't know when it started, but it felt like I woke
Watch
up
it all on my channel, by the
90%
way.
of them collectively agreed
from
to
beginning
do
to
exactly
end.
the same thing. Let's just make a guilt-free, comfy show with minimal conflict, drama, and
Correct,
progression,
correct.
showing daily interactions of some
Yes,
shy guy
yes,
and a girl.
yes,
Except
correct.
the girl has the thing. You know what I mean? The thing. Maybe she communicates in Russian. Maybe
that's
she's
good.
just legally fucking blind. Maybe the thing is that she has undiagnosed schizophrenia.
Yeah!
Where the hell did this all come from? Some call this an offshoot of the teasing genre, some call
I love
it
this
comfort
theme.
romances, and some call it bait for lonely dudes who get no
Kaiki!
bitches.
It's Kaiki's team! Kaiki's team, right? It's Kaiki's team from Monogatari. Yo! One of the best teams in, like, anime, period, man. God, it took me a second to recognize it. It's Kaiki's team from the Monogatari series. I love Kaiki's team. It's so good.
Stack no paper. With how much this is all blending together, I'm starting to call this shit the isekai of the romance genre. And now I'm doubly
shit.
convinced I'm never going to be able to look at one of these shows the same ever again because the dangers in my heart completely blows all of them out the water. No hooks, no gimmicks. This was just the purest depiction I've ever seen in anime of two people falling in love. Now,
I'm so happy.
man once said,
I think love is just like cringe.
you know what? I stand by that. We can do some cringe-ass shit when we think we're in love.
Yep.
It's that winky face you sent to that person once that keeps you
and
up
this
at
is
night
cringe,
wondering why
and
you
it's
thought
great.
it was a good idea. It's that corny shit we clowned on in love
Look at
songs,
this
but
Chad,
secretly
man.
you wanted to feel just once.
Look at this
It's that
Chad,
dumbass
Ichika.
joke you nervously blurted out in front of them that had everyone looking at you funny and made you want to crawl in a corner and just disappear. But it didn't fucking matter when I
I'm so
realized
happy.
that they were the only one that laughed. That is the dangers in my heart. This isn't about the chase. It's not about the will they, won't they. It's about two people slowly discovering a form of comfort that only the other person can provide. Not just someone that fills that hole of companionship, but
Wait,
the one person.
is my... Oh, whoa. Spoil... wait, where was I? I accidentally clicked on the wrong thing. I was gonna say my quality went down a lot. Let me go... Yeah, here we go.
It's about two people slowly discovering
it went down to
a form of
720p.
comfort that only the other person can provide. Not just someone that fills that hole of companionship, but the one person who can break down that bullshit barrier you put around yourself and accepts you for that person you're scared to show the outside world. Here are two people just genuinely becoming the best versions of themselves when they're with each other, and God, isn't that what it's all about? This didn't feel like some crush. This didn't feel like some contrived anime love story. This is romance in its purest fucking form and a reminder of what falling in love should feel like. In the race of modern great romance anime, you've heard of Kaguya-sama Love is War? Well, get ready for Yamada-kun Love is Cringe.
True. I mean, it's... If I didn't say it enough, it's my favorite romance. One of my favorite romances ever. Top three favorite romances ever. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, honestly, people said that in the beginning, it's supposed, like, the first 3 episodes are kind of deemed as, like, not the greatest. I thoroughly enjoyed the first 3 episodes. I thought they were very, very fun. I can see why people would, like, maybe cringe through them because each car starts off as being kind of cringy. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I thought they were really, really fun. But either way, I think the writing in this anime is so fucking good. I cried a lot. I laughed so much. Dude, I was just crying throughout the entire final episode of season 2, man. Or final 2 episodes. That was harsh. It's all on my channel, by the way, if you want to watch my reaction to it. Everything's on my channel. Yeah, it's I don't have much else to say apart from it's absolutely fucking insanely good. It's peak. What's number 5? Oh, you are so based. It's actually... Wow.
Girls Band Cry has girls in a band.
Woo! Rina is such a good
not
VA.
new to the girl rock band concept. It all started in 2009 with Girls Band Chai. 2 years ago saw the uprising of the highly beloved Girls Band Shy, even tangentially shows like Angel Beats that gave us Girls Band Die. We know what dynamic to expect. Cute girls doing cute things, chasing their dreams, trying hard while having a jolly good time making new friends, and look how adorable they are when they interact with each other. And then there's Girls Band Cry.
So much passion, so much emotion in it.
These aren't your pristine, perfect
8.
idol girls.
So good.
They argue, talk shit to each other, throw tantrums. Our main girl Nina has a public outburst, gets told to be quiet, and calmly responds by throwing a fucking lamp at him. Nina is your average New Yorker, but it's this brutal honesty with each other that makes this show feel so real. Their friendship seems so genuine. The drama is not some cutesy looking burger.
I love this
Every
song.
person is carrying some trauma, a character flaw they live with. These girls act like girls. They can come off as childish. They can make naive decisions on their journey, and they, get this, do not get rewarded for it. This is no fairy tale, no idealistic story about chasing your dreams. This is a down-to-earth look at the harsh reality of staying true to yourself no matter what the world is telling you. But even so, they refuse to betray their character. These girls embody the true spirit of rock, both its ups and its downs, and it's through watching their struggles do you get some of the finest drama you can find all year.
Yes!
Isn't this CG? Alright. Get the fuck over here.
Yes!
No.
Yes! Tell him! Tell him!
I get that anime fans have a Pavlovian response anytime they see CG,
It's
but
so
this
good.
is some of the best I've seen outside of Studio Orange.
Yes,
There's not a single
that's what I
moment
said.
where something interesting isn't happening in frame. Every movement adds so much character, micro-expressions that perfectly emphasize emotions, and concert scenes that bring the fucking hype to the fantastic music. Speaking of which, ooh, the piano. That piano.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes! The keyboard!
Girls Band Cry takes it back to basics.
So
great
hyped.
writing, great characters, great
That
banter,
keyboard, man.
and devious piano keys that bring joy upon my ears.
Oh, wait. Ah! Oh, okay. Whew. Oh my god, I got a bit too hyped right there. Dude, the keyboard in Girls Band Cry, absolutely fantastic. I mean, all of them were insane. Every time, if you watch... Oh, by the way, I watched it on my channel. It got fully blocked by Toei, so I decided not to risk my entire channel and re-edit and re-upload them on my channel. So right now, they are Patreon exclusive on my Patreon. But I watched, obviously, all of it, and it's absolutely insane. I'm gonna... I guess once again a spoiler alert for my video. It's gonna be on my video for like best anime and stuff like that. So I'm gonna talk more in depth about it there. But I gotta say, I love the director of it. Obviously, he directed Love Live Sunshine, which is my favorite Love Live, and he brought such a good dynamic, such a good dynamic look to the show. And also, Juki Hanada wrote the script for Girls Band Cry. I was gonna say Love Live, which is also true. But yes, Girls Band Cry and Juki Hanada. If you know anything about him, you know that he's fantastic. He's done scripts also for all of Love Lives except for Nijigasaki. He's done scripts for Steins Gate. Right now, he's doing the script for Medalist. Like, he's just the GOAT, right? And like also many other shows. So he's the GOAT. CG, I absolutely love a good use of CG in anime. I know people get allergic to it, but I love good CG. Like Studio Orange primarily are the pioneers of good CG, right? Studio Orange, everything that they've done, like Beastars I haven't seen, but I know what it looks like. Dragon Stampede, I've only seen like a few episodes, but it looks fantastic. Land of the Luscious, I haven't seen, but I know what it looks like. So yeah, Studio Orange are usually the pioneers, but Toei Animation here did a fantastic job with this kind of CG. It looks fantastic. So, I mean, I'm gonna talk more, as I said, about Girls Band Cry. I think it's absolutely, considering the fact that Gant is not into like idol or music anime, or like idol anime, I guess, in general, and him putting it this high up, absolutely deserved. This goes to show how fucking good it is. The voice acting, some of the best in anime, period. Some of the most passionate voice acting that you're gonna hear in any anime, and it's the entire main cast is by completely new VAs, by the way. Rina, the main girl from Nina, was, I think, 16 years old when she was recording the lines for this. So, yeah, insane. Orb! Yes! Yes, peak. I'm watching this on the channel as well. Orb.
In this day and age, we've seen it all. Thrillers,
Poland Saga,
stories, pirates, ninjas, knights. It's so rare to see a concept that hasn't been done before.
Oh, Poland Saga. Holy, it's so peak.
Orb on the movements of the Earth was all of that. And
the previous episode was so good!
At a time when faith was the dominating school of thought, when studying science was the Asian parent equivalent of finding out your kid wants to go to art school. What if you had to prove to everyone that the Earth isn't the center of everything, but we're actually a rock flying thousands of miles per hour through the vastness of space, held down by this
Please go and
invisible
watch
force
this.
you
It's
can't
so
touch,
good.
see, or smell. Oh, you think you can do that? I bet you still secretly give Pluto the planet pass when no one's around, you lying prick. Orb isn't just the story of heliocentrism. It's a captivating tale showing how one simple idea can change the course of so many lives. An idea that just won't die no matter how many times you try to extinguish it. It passes from person to person, generation to generation. This story is a testament to the lengths people will go in the pursuit of truth, in the face of adversity, in the face of unimaginable pain. Nothing can cage humanity's desire to look at the universe and go,
I understand it now.
If Dr. Stone made scientists look cool, this is a full-on celebration of the scientific method. Because when the universe looks down at us and says, I will never reveal my secrets to you, humanity looks up and replies, fuck you, we're gonna try anyway. This is both the brutal reality and true beauty that comes in that pursuit of knowledge. How many people laid the groundwork of research and died just before a massive breakthrough? Are the real heroes of science the ones who come up with the correct ideas, or the ones who suffer the heartbreak of realizing they've dedicated their life work researching down the wrong path and yet still accept it?
It's
Knowing
so
that the
good.
next person will now know what not to do. It's the legacy of all these unsung heroes of science that Orb wants you to think about. This isn't about a life, but the lives of the people that give us the understanding of the world we have today. It never stops reminding us that through every great individual, every achievement, every giant leap humanity takes stands on the back of the work of the people that came before them. No matter what kind of old-fashioned archaic thinking that existed back then that could halt the progress of humanity.
誰もが簡単に文字を使えたらゴミのような情報で溢れ返ってしまう。
Wait, hold on a second. This guy might be onto something.
True. So yeah, I don't want to say too much about it because it's so easily spoilable. Go into it, watch first 3 episodes, and that's how you're gonna know if it's for you or not. I think the first 3 episodes are like the main gauge. So it's absolutely fantastic. Like Madhouse is doing like a fantastic job. It's nothing over the top when it comes to animation. It's not like Freeren level, but it's just very solid animation from Madhouse. And also Kinsuke Ushio on the soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. And then the story is so unique, so good. If you're interested in sciences, astronomy, physics, anything of the sorts, then you're gonna love it. I think you are gonna love it. And if you like maybe a bit more of a seinen type of story, that's kind of historical, even though it's not historically like accurate to our history fully, it's taking inspiration from it. Then I think you're gonna enjoy it. I'm bloody enjoying it, and yeah, I'm doing reactions to it on the channel every Sunday, I believe. Okay, Dungeon Meshi. Okay.
It really felt like anime rediscovered its love for pure fantasy shows this year, with Freeren leading the charge with a tale that spoke straight to our souls. We laughed, we cried, and the community replied, damn, that's deep.
Yeah!
While all this was going on, another show was cooking with a different approach. It had elves, it had dragons, it had dungeons, but looked at all these monsters and went,
Feast mode activated. Hashtag hungry. FeedMeMore.com.
Dungeon Meshi satiated all our appetites by giving us a different kind of fantasy show. And when I saw this, I thought, wow, finally. An anime where people just want to eat monsters and not want to fuck them. It presents itself as a low-stakes, comfy cooking show, then hits you with an attention to detail in its world-building that most fantasy anime only dream of. From the biology to the concepts, it takes these well-known creatures and reimagines them in a way to give them a sense of credibility that makes you forget that you're watching a fictional story and not some nature documentary. It'll introduce you to these treasure bugs, insects shaped like coins and jewelry that target unsuspecting prey, and you're like, ah, okay, that's kind of like real-life bugs that can perfectly camouflage themselves in nature. 2 episodes later, we see our first Mimic, and if you're familiar with fantasy, Mimics are some of the most well-known monsters responsible for many of your in-game deaths, I'm sure. But here, Dungeon Meshi gives them that believability by imagining them as some giant hermit crabs that gravitate towards chests as their home. Makes sense. But then, seemingly, in a totally unrelated note,
so cool.
A treasure bug is found near it. Then one of the characters casually mentions, oh yeah, that's because the treasure bugs lay their eggs on the mimics so the larvae feed on them and they mature in there. And then it clicks. Oh, that's why these treasure bugs conveniently find their way into chests, perfectly placed for some unsuspecting adventurers to find.
So good.
And this was the exact point. My mind fully comprehended the exact scope of this world building. These aren't just random monsters scattered around. This is an ecosystem where every single thing is interconnected. There is no part that exists solely in a bubble. Every piece of this world has been carefully crafted and interwoven with a level of care that's rare to see anywhere. And you're telling me this level of craftsmanship is being used in a make-believe comfy cooking show? This is the moment when you fall into its trap. Oh! Oh!
Oh my god!
Fucking damn it. When Dungeon Meshi shows its true hand, you realize the food was simply a vehicle to prep you for what the dungeon really is. This is a brutal environment. We are nowhere near close to understanding.
Oh, this episode was so good.
This is not your comfy fantasy world. This is a Made in Abyss style Lovecraftian nightmare. A world that runs on its own set of rules beyond human comprehension that we have only just taken a single step into. Yet even through this turn, the series never loses its heart. The lovable leads always remain true to themselves. Marcial is still playing Elden Ring. Senshi is playing Cooking Mama. Chillchuck's playing Slay the Spire. Zitsumi just brought Stray. Everyone else is trapped in Darkest Dungeon. Meanwhile, Laios is in the corner going,
Feed me more.com.
Dungeon Meshi invites you to have a taster of this living, breathing world, and you forget for a moment that none of it's actually real. It'll lull you into its cozy vibe and smack you round the head when you get too comfortable, and by the end of it, sits you down to enjoy another delectable meal while you reflect on the journey. In summary,
Good soup.
Good soup. Is that it? Yes. So yeah, not much to say here. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was the last anime of the last year that I finished. I finished it like 2 weeks ago or so on the channel. I was releasing it in like bulk. I think I released like 4 or 5 episodes at a time. I finished it all and it's bloody fantastic. I do think it's one of the most well thought out and detailed fantasy anime out there. There's not necessarily like a huge like twist that would differentiate it from other fantasy anime that I've seen. It's very by the book when it comes to like the actual overall structure of it, but it's so good at the details, right? Every single detail, all of the ecosystems and stuff like that are so well written. All the characters are so well written. Like it's just extremely well written fantasy, right? And that's about all it is. It's a extremely well written classic fantasy story about a dungeon, getting to the bottom of it, and doing whatever you need to do. I'm not gonna spoil anything, even though you get told in the first episode. But still, it's just a fantastic anime. Incredible OST, incredible animation by Studio Trigger, of course. Incredible voice acting, absolutely insane voice acting. I've heard that the English dub is also really good. So it's just a fantastic anime. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was very surprised at like the middle point where things started going very south, very fast. And I was like, whoa, it's really cool. But even after a lot of the twists happen, it still doesn't lose that vibe of like Dungeon Meshi that it had at the beginning. It's really good. Like, especially if you like seeing some like cooking and stuff like that, it's really good. Oh, Dandadan. Okay. Wow, that's high.
Maybe you've been watching anime for 1 year, maybe you've been watching it for 5 years, maybe even 10, but I'm sure you remember that feeling of watching those first 10 shows. That excitement of discovering this whole new medium where everything felt fresh. It was a place that operated on its own set of rules, not bound by the ideas you were used to.
Yes.
There was a weirdness to it you couldn't find anywhere else, and every new episode you watched, something unpredictable lay just around the corner. I've been watching anime for 20 years, and Dandadan took me back to those times. Shonen Jump is a place where its formula for success has been repeated over generations, so when a new title gets adapted, we normally know what the rules are, and Dandadan starts by taking that rulebook and setting it on fire. At first you think, okay, it's another battle shonen, then you realize, hold on, it's actually a rom-com. No, sci-fi. Wait, it's a supernatural. Maybe actually it's even a horror. You go through this entire notion before it even occurs to you that 90% of this show revolves around some dude getting his balls back. This is what happens when you throw everything against the wall and say, fuck it, we ball. You could be the strongest observation haki user and still be unable to predict what happens next. When you expect it to go forwards, it goes sideways. When you
that
jump,
episode, man.
It asks,
you good?
It exudes this childish freedom of expression you forget how to do as an adult, and the most incredible thing is that somehow, someway, it is able to take all this chaos and keep everything cohesive. This is a show that can make you laugh, make you cry, make you hype, leave you in absolute awe in some of its most beautiful moments.
Oh, come on, don't show that moment.
Special brand of weirdness. In the sanitized, safe, risk-free world of modern entertainment, watching this reminded me of the childish excitement I should feel when watching a new anime. And the only thing holding this from the top spot is that we've barely taken a step off the starting line.
So yes, I watched this on the channel as well. Absolutely fantastic. The animation, some of the best in recent times. Voice acting, honestly, I barely hear anyone mention voice acting when it comes to Dandadan, but I think that's the biggest standout point that I've noticed for me personally was the voice acting from especially Wakayama Shion as Momo was absolutely mental. She was going in and she was so good. And also Mizuki Nana as, of course, the grandma and stuff like that. And obviously Hana and Natsuki was also great, but especially Wakayama Shion, absolutely fantastic. And then Kensuke Ushio on the soundtrack was incredible as well. As always, Kensuke Ushio is always a delight to hear. So he was great in Dandadan. The only gripe I guess I had with Dandadan, or I guess the main gripe that I had with it, is I don't know where the story is going at all. Once again, maybe that's just a personal thing. That's what sets an anime back for me, is when I'm not hooked on the story because I don't know what the story is supposed to really be. I don't know where we're heading with the story, right? That doesn't seem like there's like a big overarching plot. I guess there's like a subtle plot that they established with Momo, like what her goal is in the future, right? She, like, with her powers and stuff like that. I'm not gonna spoil it. With Okarun, I guess we kind of have like a short-term goal of getting something back, which once again, I'm not gonna spoil, even though he did say it, but I'm not gonna spoil it. But I guess there is a short-term goal of, hey, I want to get this thing back, but that feels like it could happen like tomorrow. So I feel like there's no like big overarching goal that we're striving for, and that's kind of what I'm missing, like a big storyline. You know, that's one thing that for me is still missing from Dandadan. Now, I don't know if that's coming later on. I did hear from a bunch of people that it gets better and better as time goes on. And this next arc that's coming, because we left in like the middle of the season, right? In the middle of the arc, the season ended. So I heard that this arc that's coming right now is gonna be fantastic. So I'm just waiting for some kind of story to be established. That's the only thing that I'm waiting for Dandadan, for me to get invested in a story, right? Right now, it's very cool. It's very, like, it's insane. All the elements separately are very, very insane. Very pretty to look at. Very good to listen to. I'm just not invested in the story yet. So that's one thing that I'm waiting for with Dandadan. Apart from that, fantastic. Oh, a movie. Look back.
You know, if I'm being super honest,
I haven't heard the dub of it.
I don't even like drawing manga. It's a pain in the butt.
Ooh, it sounds good.
Why do you draw, Fujino?
Watch it on the channel as well.
If you would, for a second, indulge me on this anecdote I think about a lot. It's 3 AM in the year 1988. An audio engineer in Hawaii is picking up after a late night of work when his phone rings. On the other end was a local musician who asked if he could come in and record something. Of course, the engineer told him that he was closing and they could easily come in the next day, but the guy pleaded to let him record this idea he desperately wanted to see through. 15 minutes later, that person came in. He played one song, one take, and it was over. For years, that recording would lay dormant, only to actually be released 5 years later. That guy was Israel Kamikavivole, and that recording was his now world-famous rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. This story has always stuck with me. For anyone who's ever created something, sometimes you have that project, that idea that hits you when inspiration strikes and refuses to leave. You'll think about it when you're taking a shower, when you're having lunch, when you're working on anything else. Like a parasite, it festers in your mind waiting for you to materialize it. And you know you have to see it through. Not for money, not for clout, not for any sense of personal responsibility, but because you just need to. On every single level. That is the exact feeling.
Look at how gorgeous it is.
Watching Look Back. A need to make, a need to create. Look Back was many things. It's a love letter to the creative process. It's an exploration to why people make art. It's a homage to some of the most tragic events that have happened in the industry, but more than that, there is this overwhelming sense of an author coming to terms with his own personal struggles, speaking directly through these characters that he's created. Coming from the mind that gave us Fire Punch and Chainsaw Man, this was a shockingly simple, soulful tale of two artists and their journey of creating for each other, creating for money, creating for pride, creating for themselves. This is a film that encapsulates the entire spectrum of emotions for anyone who's ever made anything, in a way only someone who's felt the depths of those feelings could portray. That excitement of finishing your first work, the struggle of knowing you can do better, that deep insecurity that you're just inadequate, the euphoric explosion of having your work recognized, the emptiness you feel when you've forgotten why you started this journey in the first place, and that moment when you doubt it all and ask, was it all worth it? In 1 hour, this film packs more emotional depth than most anime can fit in an entire season through simple, beautiful storytelling. It felt like a story that was made simply because someone needed to put it all out there. It's jam-packed full of the rawest human emotions.
Look at this shot.
Like
I love this
watching
shot.
Somebody scream from their soul. Lines that feel so intimate. You're unsure if you're watching two characters talk to each other or a person having a conversation with themselves. This is the kind of personal story that's so rare to experience, and when I see someone laying themselves bare, it's hard for me not to be deeply moved. I've experienced this story 3 times now, and every time has given me something different. I read the manga and cried at the pure beauty of the storytelling and emotions on display. I
read
watched this in theaters and cried, experiencing this story again so perfectly brought to life.
I wish I could watch this in
I put this on when it
theaters.
got its home release and cried, feeling such a profound connection to what the creators must have felt when making this. And after every single time, without fail, it gave me a reminder of why the hell I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I'm sure some of you may think that putting a movie as my #1 anime this year feels like a cop-out. And
a little bit,
kind of
a little bit,
I often tried to make it a point to keep anime films and series separate. I've never put a movie in any of these rankings before, but no matter how much I reflected, no matter what other shows I put here, nothing else felt right. It had to be Look Back. Not because I wanted
Somewhere
to give
over
it
the rainbow
exposure,
playing.
not because of some review score, not because of any arbitrary qualifications. I put it here because simply, I just needed to.
That was actually a very emotional way to end this. Wow. And no message at the end. So, wow. Okay. No, I get it, man. So I recently, last year, at the end of last year, I watched Evangelion on my channel on Patreon, right? And I watched all of Evangelion and all of the movies, right? Apart from like the recap movies. I watched the rebuild movies, not the recap ones. Either way, if I were to make a list of like anime, I don't remember when 4.0 came out, like 2021 or something. If I were to make a list of like best of anime of 2021, I would put Evangelion 4.0 at my #1, even though it's a movie. I get it. It's my favorite piece of anime ever, right? So I get why he would put something like this that hit him so close. Like why he put it at #1. I thoroughly enjoyed Look Back. I don't think I maybe connected as deeply with it as someone like Gigguk did, because he's been creating stuff for like what, 15 years or something. So maybe, yeah, I don't think I connected as deeply, but still I cried like a bitch watching it. It was absolutely fantastic. The animation was insane. The voice acting, some of the best voice acting in any anime movie. The OST, incredible. But yeah, I gotta say, animation, insane. Also, the story, of course, Fujimoto Tatsuki is an absolute genius when it comes to storytelling. And this is the least Fujimoto story, at least from what I've heard. Not from what I've seen, because I've only seen Chainsaw Man and this. But from what I've heard, this is the least Fujimoto story when it comes to like the uniqueness and weirdness. But it still has its weird parts. It's really good. It pays homage to some tragic stuff happening, as I saw in the comments of my video on Look Back, right? Paying homage to the entire thing that happened with Kyoto Animation and stuff like that, right? Which was, I mean, it was just incredible to see that kind of passion and emotional weight, and just so much emotion being packed into this one work, right? And I watched, or I read the look back one shot when Gigguk first talked about it, right? I think that was the reason why I even read it in the first place. And I cried during that. And then watching this kind of adaptation of it, it was absolutely fantastic, because I think this was one of the most creative and best adaptations that have ever been released for it, right? I would equate it to something like what they did with Bocchi the Rock and its adaptation, because obviously the way that it was adapted was so creative, even though I don't think it's a direct, obviously a direct comparison, but I do think that you can compare the level of creativity that was needed to adapt something like this, right? And it was, yeah, just an absolute treat to watch. This was an interesting list. It's definitely going to be way different from my list, but I feel like most of that stuff is not because I don't think that some of the anime were as good as he's saying it. I think it's more so what you personally connect with, and I feel like I'm going to talk more about it in my video. As I said, I don't want to reveal all of my rankings so far. Some of you probably know what's going to be my anime of the year, maybe. But yeah, as I said, I'm going to try to release that video soon. But either way, this was absolutely fantastic. Please go and check out his original video. It's going to be down in the description. Wow, this has been a long recording of this. I had never expected it to be this long, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about anime that I liked this year. So here it is. And if you're wondering about my ranking, as I said, be on the lookout. But I'm going to end this one here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.